welcome in everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is your Wednesday wrap-up, and I'm here with my man, Herb. How's it going, man?
It's one of those mornings, but that doesn't have to be bad, right? I'll turn it into a positive.
That's why we have the coffee.
Yes.
To help deal with the things.
Yes.
Man. So, all right. Lots of interesting stuff going on this week. And, of course, some of that starts off with just trades, right?
Yes.
Trades are starting to heat up. Trade deadline only a couple weeks away. And the Seahawks kick it off with a defensive lineman coming from the Jags. Does not move the needle, but it happened to be the one that kicked off the trade, basically kicked off the trades for the season. They pick up a defensive lineman from the Jags. And let's be honest, if you've watched the Jags, they don't play defense. So anybody they were willing to let go of is not going to help a team out a whole lot. So it's sort of an honorable mention because it kicked off the trades, but that one's not going to matter. The one that does matter quite a bit, Davante Adams headed to the Jets.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I mean, because if you look at the reports, it looks like he was already there and just waiting. The man already had his cleats and like everything. So he was like, yeah, just get it done. And did I read right that he's going to play this weekend too? So his
probably.
Yeah, his hamstring is mysteriously healed up too as well. So
yeah, it's amazing. Amazing. Medical miracle. Yeah. No, it's that was the worst kept secret ever, especially as soon as Carr got hurt. Like any kind of thoughts that you had, well, maybe the Saints get him because he'd be willing to work with Carr again too, because his best statistical year was with Carr at the Raiders, right?
Right.
So you're like, okay, well, maybe he'll do that. And then Carr gets hurt and it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, he's going to the Jets
then. Yeah. And that's all you had left with it. So, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the Jets are 2-4. The rest of the division outside of Buffalo is falling apart. So can they still make a run? Was it one wide receiver away? It's kind of an interesting little thing because I didn't think Rodgers was playing great. I mean, he's still great at two things, throwing Hail Marys and throwing his teammates under the bus.
No question.
But other than that, it didn't look great out there. So are they really a Davante? I mean, maybe they make a run at the division. I don't think they challenge like the Chiefs and the Ravens of the world, though.
No, I mean, is there still room to go get the playoffs? Sure, because teams that were supposed to be good are playing horribly,
right.
Including them. Right? Rodgers has not looked good, but do they do anything in the playoffs? Probably not. Salah's mad.
Yeah.
Right? He's just like, really? Now we're going to go get his guys? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for firing me for no reason. The defense was great. But...
Yes. And continues to be great, just to getting no help. I mean, you look at that game and you take away the Hail Mary and the game's not even, And I know people are like, oh, they missed a couple field goals. Yeah, well, you got a Hail Mary. So that covers a lot of what you missed, So.
They also breeze over the fact that the Bills also missed a field goal and an extra point. Like, what are we talking about right now?
Yeah,
so,
all things are not equal.
I don't know. But when you look statistically, through the first 5 starts, Rodgers and Zach Wilson have almost identical numbers and identical scoring. So all of this, he's amazing. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, let's calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Every once in a while he'll look crisp, but they'll have a good drive. But it's every once in a while. There's no consistency throughout the whole game. Yeah. He doesn't. He looks like sometimes he's just met his wide receivers like right before the game. I'm like, are you guys practicing or what?
He met him even that far ahead of time? Like I feel like they lined up and they're like, you're Steve, right?
Yep.
I don't know your name, so I'm just gonna call you Steve.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody basically told him like he already knew Alan Lazard was, and then he throws to Garrett Wilson a lot, and then that's it. So I don't know. I mean, I in a vacuum, I get it, but you've got a older wide receiver. You don't know if he's lost a step because he's been with the Raiders for the last couple of years. We have no idea what's going on. But I just don't know. It's like one of those
separation though.
Yeah.
Like, he may not be as fast as he once was, but he can still get separation.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where it goes.
It didn't matter for the Raiders, but
no, No, that was like, but I said this earlier, like the Raiders needed to get rid of him. So whatever they could get, wherever he needed to go was time. They need to go ahead and just finish tanking it out and get another quarterback at the end of the year. So,
Oh, no question. I mean, sticking with the Raiders, I guess, is where does Crosby go?
yeah.
Because, I mean, getting rid of Adams, starting O'Connell, that shows that you're just like, you know what, this year
It's done.
just isn't going to work out.
Yep.
So then it's like, okay, well, how far do you rip this thing down?
Yeah.
I mean, because Crosby, can you build around him? I mean, I guess on the defense, but at the same time, like, how old is Crosby now? He's got to be, what, he's probably close to 30, right?
I would think so. And I think, like, to your point, even late 20s, let's say he's 28 to give him something, right? No,
Sure.
27.
Okay, there we go.
Does he fit your timeline if you're tearing it down and trying to get younger? You just drafted maybe your tight end in the future, right? But that's really the only other piece that you've got, right? That's young and good lately. And now you've wasted 2 years in a row on tight ends. So you're going to go after a quarterback, probably fix your line a little bit, get another number one wide receiver. By the time you're ready, now you're looking at Crosby at 30, 31, wanting another extension somewhere in the middle of all this. Is any of that worth it to your timeline?
Probably not.
So,
especially when you can gather some more draft capital for him.
Right.
That being said, they don't seem like they care about draft capital because they didn't get anything for Devontae, really.
Yeah. Well, that's because they're so bad at drafting that I don't think that they really worry about that kind of stuff.
Well, maybe Brady finally getting approved
We'll help that out.
We'll give him something, right? Like maybe he can throw some insight in there, even though it's going to make it so he can't do his job at all. If you haven't seen the restrictions of what he has to jump through now, it is amazing. Like he's not allowed to be in opposing locker rooms. He can't be in team meetings. He can't talk about officials now. What are you going to do on a broadcast? Because the officials have been terrible. We've been talking about them every week.
That is funny. And now they're paying him a buttload of money to not be able to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, they're paying him like $35 million a year or something for this. Ooh. So what's he going to talk about? I mean, it's a good thing his counterpart is good because he's going to have to carry everything.
Yeah,
Tom's just going to be in there like, yeah, I won 7 rings. Looks like they're going to run here, and that's all I'm allowed to talk about.
Yep, that's pretty much it. When you say stuff I agree with, and I can't say, I'll just shake my head and make sure the camera's not on me. Okay.
But I'll kind of do this, so you can't really tell. Yeah, no, it's some of that is crazy. I'm sure it'll work out a little bit, but
right. But no, back to your original. I definitely think the Raiders. It's time trade and get what you can, and it's just time to start over. Yeah. And honestly, your timeline maybe helps if 3 years from now, maybe the Chiefs are a little bit worse and you actually have a chance at the division. You're not going to compete like right now. So,
yep.
I guess that's on the shirts. What's up, Win?
It's happening. Yeah, man. So another trade that came through that they got absolutely nothing for, Amari Cooper headed to the Bills. I like that match.
Yes, I love you. Well, because we're already biased, so I know Raj will be with me on this one because we love Cooper. Sure. Still think he's one of the best route runners, in the league. I think the Buffalo went with the experiment of no Diggs and kind of see where it went. Keon Coleman, not that he, it's still early. He's a rookie, but I guess he hasn't been the breakout really that they wanted. And what was it, Shakir from last year or whatever? So they needed a true number one. It's like people, I won't say people because every report I've read, a lot of people like this trade, but there are some that seem to forget how he really jump-started Dak when he went to Dallas, and they traded a number one for him. So I love the trade. I love the trade for him. And I know like his drop rate has been bad in Cleveland, but I also attribute that to, you made the point. You never know when you're actually going to get the ball. And are you really dialed in with Deshaun Watson as your quarterback?
Even on target.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing this and touching it? And it's technically a drop.
Yes. So, and, Josh Allen has impressed me this year. He's played a lot better than what I'm used to seeing from him. So, or my perception of him, I guess.
No,
So,
yeah, you're right. He's played smarter football. He's been a little more careful with it. He still has moments. Like,
yes.
let's not get crazy, but he has been smarter with it. His turnovers are down. And they were prepping for the Diggs situation as the year went on anyway, because, really after like week 10, they stopped using Diggs altogether.
Right.
Like he was on the field, but I mean, he got like 2 touches a game, maybe.
Yep.
Like they didn't target him at all. So, I mean, they were getting ready for life after Diggs. They were finding ways to win with what they had.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was impressive anyway, but a guy like Cooper, I like because, to your point, he's a great route runner. And that's something they need because, Allen can chuck it down the field for a mile. Sure. But you need time for that. And if you have a great route runner, they get open quick. Yeah. So now all of a sudden you can complete these shorter passes and now that long ball is available.
Yep.
As opposed to you're chucking that long ball into double coverage and just hoping it doesn't get picked off.
And what is it, a 3rd and a 7th round for him?
Yeah, but
isn't that more than what? And they gave a 6th.
7th for a 6th. So I mean, really, they got him for a 3rd. Which is
what did Dallas trade away for him? Didn't they trade him away for like a 5th or a 6th or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, he doesn't get a lot of trade capital. But the Browns actually covered basically his entire year. They front loaded it. So the Bills
it's like $1 million.
It's like 800,000.
Yeah, it's like the Russell Wilson. Yes, I don't. They're like, so wait a minute, we give away a 3rd. We're paying him less than $1 million, and we get one of the best route runners. Okay, and a guy like the polar opposite of like Cooper's not going to cause you the problem that Diggs was causing you. He's just never been that kind of guy. So it's like this just seems like a win all the way around for the Bills. And I love the Browns sitting over there. I was watching one of them. Of course, I was on TikTok just looking at people's reactions. And one of the guys, like Stefanski, is playing the role of Stefanski. And he's like, so you guys got me some help. What are we doing? No, we traded away somebody. He's like, you got rid of Deshaun Watson? Yeah, not exactly. We got rid of your best wide receiver.
You know that one guy that you like? Yeah, we got rid of that guy.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to get rid of Garrett too, probably. Yeah, no.
I mean, he's getting fired at the end of the year because he's like the only one that they could fire. Like, hey, your defense is still playing well, but I think it was like 4 teams that haven't scored over like 20 points, and they're one of them. It's like, what is going on? And then get rid of a wide receiver. Now, Judy has been playing a little bit better over there, so that's cool for him. But is anybody going to be great over there? Not really.
No, and you feel bad for Stefanski. Like of all of the coaches that are on the hot seat, he's the one that you're just like, man, this is really not his fault.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what is he supposed to do? He didn't write sign the check for that contract, or write,
Well, and he's not the reason Deshaun is still on the field.
Right.
There is a 0% chance that he's just like, you know what? I like what I'm seeing. He's our guy. Like, there's no way that's a thing. That's a GM trying to keep his job and an ownership trying to save face. They're like, no, keep trotting that guy out there. Eventually, he's going to be good. And it's like, you know what? He's not, though, because like mentally, he's not in this thing.
No.
So, and you can tell by, not just last week when he gave up on a play, but like you can tell just by his gameplay. Like he's not into it. There was no incentive. He's like, I'm getting 230 no matter what.
Yeah.
I could be great. Yep. I could be terrible. Doesn't really matter. Now, like for me, I like hardware. So I'd still want to go win a ring, especially with the team he has. Yeah. But like if money was your only concern, which I mean, realistically, he went to the Browns, so clearly that's probably the case. Yeah, maybe you don't care.
Yeah, no, and I think they're holding out hope for that one game that he had last year that was really good, the one he got hurt in, and they're like, see, there's still glimpses. And I'm like, yeah, maybe a play or two, here or there, but that's not what you're paying somebody $230 million for, and a team that's clearly built to win now. And that you're trying, when you had Cooper was playing well in Cleveland despite all the dysfunction. Yes. He was still playing well. It was just really under the radar. And then you go get a Judy who, like his Denver years weren't great, but still a number 1 draft pick. And for him to be a number 2 wide receiver and like Njoku, they put a lot in the running backs. They're like, look, we're trying on offense. We've got a great defense. Like we could realistically be, whether you believe it or not, I'll take arguments on either side, but realistically be a Super Bowl contender with a good quarterback and this team. But you're giving us like zero.
That's the thing, right? Is you look at that team and you're like, okay, it's the Browns, so they're going to do Browns things. But when you look at the roster, you can look at that and be like, no, they are a quarterback away.
Right.
Like they had receivers, they had running backs, they had a tight end. Their offensive and defensive lines are good. I mean, the defense is one of the stingier ones in the league. That says like championship caliber team. Like you explain it like that. And then you go, Deshaun is going to play like the 35th ranked quarterback. Oh, cool. So, so
which in college isn't that bad, by the way. I mean, when you have 100 teams, being the 35th ranked is bad. When you have 32 teams and you're the 35th rank,
I mean, that's the thing, right? You're just like, okay, like they could have went and got anybody.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I get it. You're paying them $230 million, but at some point you should want to win, right?
Yeah.
Like it's one of the things, and I've said it before. It's one of the things I liked about the Seahawks organization. They bring in Matt Flynn. They pay him $17 million. Wilson, they draft Wilson, third rounder. They're not thinking anything of it. He beats him in preseason, and they're like, you know what? We want to win.
Right.
Flynn never takes a snap. They're like, here's 17 mil. Thanks for stopping by. Man, sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
And you keep it pushing. And I mean, obviously that's a lot less money, but the cap was a lot less then too. Right.
Yeah.
Like as it's gone, I mean, at some point you kind of have to do that. Right. Cause I mean, otherwise you're just wasting all of the talent on that roster. And if you're on that roster, at what point is your morale just like,
thank you,
let me get up out of here because we're not trying to win.
Yeah. That was going to be my next point. And I keep going back to this one. You got a guy like Judy who didn't have great years in Denver and seemed to give up at times. And you're trying to trade and get a guy like that and remake him. I mean, he's going to be checked out halfway through this year. And that's not even so. Like if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm like, I'm busting my butt every week. At what point do you go and it's like, just get me out of here, man? I want to win a championship. You can probably get a bunch for me. It's time because you're locked into Deshaun for 2-3 more years because you stupidly also gave him $1 million in the first year so he could.
So it's all backloaded.
Yeah, so it's all backloaded just because for some reason you wanted to do right by him while he was getting suspended. So you gave him $1 million in the year he wasn't going to play. Like does he have something on you?
I think it actually was smarter than it looks now because in the contract.
Is this a compliment? Smarter than it looks now.
Yes. Well, and you'll see why. So if you look at that first year, right, he's suspended for 11 games or something. And they were only going to give him $1 million for that year. And it's because his contract was written in the way that if anything after those initial ones
I got you
forward, they could void the contract. So it actually was a smart way to enter it because they didn't know if there was more outlying ones that were going to come forward. Right. And so it gave them an out where they would only burn $1 million. Well, now we're a couple years into this and the ones that have come forward, they've found a way to seal. So it doesn't quite fall into that,
right.
that window where they can get off this contract. And he's just played like hot garbage. So, unfortunately it didn't work out, just like every quarterback situation for the Browns. But initially it did seem smart.
Yeah.
But then it didn't work out because it's the Browns.
Do you get to feel like at some point they should hire somebody not associated with the with the organization at all to pick the quarterback? Like, look, hey, we're going to assemble the whole rest of the team. We just need you to tell us what quarterback to go get. We don't care if it's drafts. We don't care if you're saying, here's our trade capital, whatever. Whatever decision you make, we'll do. Yep. Because clearly we're terrible at this on our own.
Absolutely the worst.
They gave a contract away so bad. What's up, Randy?
Grab that coffee.
Yeah. Randy's got a big game this weekend coming up, so I know he's getting ready for that.
Yeah.
But you look at their year. I mean, 17 points against Dallas. You somehow beat the Jags by scoring 18 points. Okay. Lose to the Giants, 15 points. Lose to the Raiders, 16 points.
This lets you know how bad the offense is when you're only getting 18 points against the Jags.
Yes.
I mean, they straight up don't play on that side of the field. I think they have the robot tackling dummies. They're just like randomly wheeling around because they're never anywhere near the play.
Yeah.
Them in Dallas, they got guys out there, but I don't know what they're doing. It's almost like their helmet's on backwards. They're just running around hoping to run into somebody.
I mean, you're not wrong. But look at what their defense is doing. 20 point, take out Washington and Dallas. Those two games got away from, right? They've given up 13, 21, 20, and 20.
Yeah. And
you've lost 3 of those 4 games. Like, what else are you supposed to do if you're a defense? I feel like if my defense is giving up 20 or less, I need to win that game. That's just. You
have a guy in Garrett who's a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year every year.
Yes.
You can't accidentally get some wins. Like,
yes. My defense is literally saying, look, we're doing everything we can except scoring, But this is where things start to fall apart because what happens on defense, instead of tackling, you're going for, turnovers. You know what I mean? And that's where, so what's up, Regina? You start going for turnovers instead of tackles. You start getting a little desperate. Maybe you're making plays that aren't as fundamentally sound because you're thinking at some point, we got to get some points on this side of the ball. Or, if I make this tackle and they punt, I'm probably going to be right back out here.
So that's where they need to be better. They need to be the Steelers defense where they're like, you know what, we're going to scoop and score because our offense isn't going to.
Yes. And it isn't sad. That's where guys stop diving on the ball. And like you said, they're going to, like, if I don't get this up, if I dive and we get the ball right here, we're probably missing a field goal after taking 2 sacks. And then that's what's going to happen. So it's just a frustrating thing to watch, and I'm not even a Browns fan, but to watch a guy getting 230 to put this out on the field. And ESPN just did a deep dive on it. And they were like, is it other factors? Is it all Watson? It's like, he's bad at this. He's bad at this. Yeah, sometimes the line isn't the greatest, but, he runs into a lot of sacks also. His throw is off target.
I think it is just I don't want to say a culture thing, but a morale thing. Like are the guys around him being drugged down play-wise because of the dysfunction that he just brings to the atmosphere?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he doesn't seem like he is really into playing football. He has, all of the off the field stuff that brings just a circus around the team. Everyone else has been playing great. At some point, they're just be like, I mean, man,
yeah.
Do I need to try this hard?
Yeah.
And the answer is probably no.
Yeah.
I think the only thing you're really going to be doing is trying not to put bad tape out.
Yeah.
And as long as you can avoid putting bad film, right, you'll get a job somewhere else because you're obviously not going to be staying there. Like, this thing's a couple years away from being blown up.
Yep.
Yes. The leadership is, I don't know if you can call it that.
But it's all true, And then it's like you said, the quarterback is the face of your organization. They are the head. That's where everything starts. If I look over at that guy and he's terrible and he's keeping his job, you think I'm motivated all of a sudden? I'm saying, so let me get this straight. If I run the wrong route or drop a pass, you might pull me. But the guy who's throwing everything wrong, guy who touches the ball every play, okay, I got it.
If you run the wrong route, would you even know?
Probably not.
His pass has been so off the mark. I don't know if you'd be able to tell the difference if the guy ran a wrong route or not. Like that's just one of those where you're just like, was it the wrong route? Was it Deshaun just, on one? Like, who knows?
Yeah. Or did the receiver run the route to where he thought the ball might end up versus where he was supposed to be?
I mean, if that's the case, he should run back to the line because
and just stay there. Yeah. Yeah. But how do you, to your original point, how do you get the whole roster so good and mess up the most important part? How
I
do
mean,
you put
they have
together
history.
everything else?
They have history of that, though.
That's crazy though. Like
I
you
mean,
can't accidentally get it right.
clearly not. I mean, they've even had guys that went other places to play well. But
Yeah.
while you're within that organization, if you're a quarterback through the years, I mean, have they had a successful quarterback since they became a team again? Not really.
Mm.
And that jersey, they have that jersey with all the names of the quarterbacks on it
Right.
is like 15 feet tall now. None of them worked out at that location. Some of them have gone on to do decent other places, but I mean, while they were within the confines of that organization, it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot how to throw the ball or like tie my shoes. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but there's something about that ruins quarterbacks.
Yeah. I guess Baker was all right when he first started out, but I
He,
don't think he had the rest of the team around him. But he came on like gangbusters for a little bit.
I think the team actually liked him. I don't think the people up front did.
Yeah. Which
So
is weird because they would probably kill to have him back right now. If you could make a Deshaun Watson for Baker Mayfield trade right
oh,
now,
yeah.
you would instantly
You know how funny
do
that would
that.
be?
Yes.
That would be amazing
Yes.
because they gave him up for nothing,
Right.
right? So they'd probably have to actually give up something decent to get him back, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're probably giving up a 3 that could escalate to a 2 or something like that. Maybe just,
And you'd have to pay most of the salary because what's the incentive for Tampa Bay? So you're
yeah,
talking like only in Madden or something where you're making this trade and
no,
forcing it through some.
they'd have to give up like a 2 or a 3, and then also like a 5 maybe, and then they'd have to cover almost all of the salary, and it would just be that would be the most Brown situation, right? We have this guy, he gets us to a playoff game finally. We're like, we don't like you because you wanted to win, and we get someone else in here. Now we have to give up a ton to get you back, and then he would probably suck again.
Yes. Just somehow, just being in the building.
Exactly.
But you look at it like Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, Tyrod Taylor, Deshaun Kaiser. I didn't even remember that name. RG3, I guess after he was really done. Cody Kessler, Josh, like these are.
Yeah, well, and then you also had like Johnny Football in there, and
Yep, he was the next name up. Manziel, Brian Hoyer, Brandon Weeden, Colt McCoy, Tim Couch.
Well, and the thing that's funny is a bunch of those guys were in the league a long time and played way better as soon as they got away from the Browns.
Yeah.
So, not that this was designed to be a bash the segment, but man.
Yeah. Which is that, like, other than that, like, I like the Browns and I like some of the players they put out. I like the defense. It's just they've bungled this one situation so bad that they get made fun of because it trickles out. It affects everything else that you do. Because we praised their defense, right?
It destroys the championship roster.
Yeah. Because we praised the defense. They played well. You've given up 30 in 2 of your games, but less than 20 in, 4 others. You're thinking, okay, I should at least be 4-2, 3-3, instead I've won 1 game, and that's against the only other worst team in the league.
Well, and when you look at last year, right, it took Flacco coming in to actually win some games, and they started the season with an offense that couldn't do anything on a historic track, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were going to give up the least amount of points ever. And, it's just like, and they were spending the entire game on the field because the offense still couldn't do anything. So, I mean, you're looking at a defense that in any other scenario is absolutely crushing it. And for them, it's like, oh yeah, we gave up 20. It's like, well, probably lost.
Yeah. I mean, how sad is that, So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way I watch my Mariners every year. It's like, oh, we gave up 4 runs. Guess I can turn this game off. Oh, man. That does get us to the halfway point, so we will just take a real quick second here and tell you that the show is brought to you in part by True Fusion Gym right here in the Pacific Northwest. Use the QR code on the screen, get a free 5-day pass at any of the 3 locations, whether it's Bellevue, Ballard, or their newest location in University Village. Pilates boot camp, yoga. They also have hot rooms. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. And of course, if you are into sports betting, you can bet right alongside us here at Football Talk using this QR code on the screen. Get up to 125% of your initial 3 deposits. There's also a 10% bet guarantee if you happen to be terrible at betting. Restrictions do apply, but yeah, you can bet right alongside us. All right. Got to try and pay the bills.
Yes, there you go.
So, and then one other notable trade came through. Vikings get Cam Akers back. And I don't hate that. Like that's another one that's a good pickup. Another one that they didn't really have to give anything up. Kind of weird that these first trades for very notable people are for nothing, really. They're just like, yeah, so if you could just get him out of the building, that'd be cool. It's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah. And I think, so the Akers one, you've started on the depth chart, so I realize maybe you're not going to get a lot. So I get that one more than the wide receiver ones, for sure, But no, I like it because Aaron Jones is banged up again. And I hate it for him, but it is every year, that you have to have some insurance for him. So I do like the pickup. Akers gets a chance to actually get some burn out there. So I like the trade. Vikings, you're clearly thinking way more about this season than you were when you started it. And you're like, we need to solidify every position because we got to stay on this run that we're on. So no, I like it. Yeah. And that division is crazy. So good luck.
It is. The thing that's funny is they're talking about the potential of the first entire division to make it into the playoffs.
Right.
Right. Because there's been a couple that have got close where 3 of the 4 go.
Right.
This one looks like it could be good enough that all 4 teams have the ability, except they play each other twice.
Yes.
That'll be the thing. Like, that'll be what keeps one of them out. And it's why it hasn't happened yet, is if you have a division that's that strong, there's just some natural attrition that happens because they beat each other up.
Yep.
And so ultimately one of them probably doesn't make it. I would say that the Lions and the Vikings are pretty much, almost guarantees at this point. Like, they'd have to really fall off to miss. Green Bay, that's the question mark. And then of course the Bears are the Bears. They'll find a way to mess it up.
Yeah. And for the Bears, making a run at a playoff is nice, but it's your first year of Caleb Williams. So it doesn't, it's not like missing the playoffs is terrible. But I agree with you. I do think Detroit and Minnesota separate themselves. They haven't even played each other. So I'm looking at it, and there's only been one division game so far. So, is that this week? That tells you I haven't done my pick'em yet too. So I guess I need to go log in and do that.
So, before we dive into that a little bit, I hear you might have lost in some fantasy.
I don't know what you're talking about. Where's my shirt that says, if I don't remember it, it didn't happen? I'm going to go grab that.
See, this is where Raj cracks me up because he sent me this text.
Oh, my God. This morning or last night?
During the show.
Wow.
He's like, you have to mention this.
That is my brother. Yes. Well, he threatened to quit fantasy football forever if he lost this game. And he's been accusing me of rigging the league every single week. So I had to throw him a bone. So here.
How do you rig the league?
I have no idea.
Players, right?
Yes. First off, I didn't have the first pick in the league. So I think I was like 5th or 6th. So I'm somewhere in the middle. And I've lost. Huh?
That's where you want to be, though.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was fine for me. I hate because the first pick ended up being I feel like Derrick Henry or Tyreek Hill. I'm sorry. None of the first 3 picks have worked out. Tyreek Hill was, I think, 1, and I feel like Derrick Henry was 2, so that's worked out. But number 3 was C-Mac, so that's not working out. The person who got C-Mac got his backup running back, and then he got hurt too. So there's a lot going on with it. But Raj got his first win. He beat me. So Raj, I don't even know if he remember.
He got his first win?
Yeah, he's only won 1 game. That's why it's so. It came down to Garrett Wilson last night. Yeah. So that's why he's brave. This is why you don't let your little brother ever win stuff, because the one time he beat me in horse, he had it posted on Facebook before we left the gym.
Oh, that is
I
hilarious.
was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, this is why you got to keep your little brother out. So I'll be next
That
time Rod
is
gets on.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because you know, in Pick'em, my wife got all of them right.
This
She
past week?
Yeah, 14 for 14, man.
Holy.
Right? I've been playing this for years. You know how many times I've done that? 0 times.
I can't even imagine what it takes to get those right, though.
I mean, I went 13-1 because I thought the Titans would be able to take down the Colts in a you know, because the Colts were all banged up. And oh no, I take that back. I accidentally got that one right because on my pick'em sheet that I drew up, I took the Titans, and then in the app, because I kept going back and forth, I left it on the Colts and it worked out. The one I got wrong was the Broncos game. I thought the Broncos were going to be able to win, and that did not happen. In fact, they got smoked. So
I'm looking at mine. Like everybody did better this week though, so I see that. Like she's got 14. Yeah, I had like 11, and that put me in 10th place for the week.
Yeah, last place I think had 10. Like it was crazy.
Which is not a bad. Oh, now Bo's up to 3rd. Rogers up to 3rd. Like, what is this? The whole league's rigged. I'm quitting Pick'em. I'm logging out right now.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm just impressed that I was able to climb back up there. I'm within a game of the lead because man, I had a couple weeks in there where I think I fell as far as 8th, and I was just like, well, a 3-peat may not be on the cards for me.
And now all of a sudden, okay, maybe it is.
Yeah, you know, clawing my way back in, trying to keep it respectable. So all of a sudden, you know, after last week, I was like, am I trying for last? Like, my entry fee back?
Good grief.
Man. So I don't know if you've seen the video. Unfortunately, I can't get it to load. Is a Ravens fan after the game with Washington.
Oh yeah.
Like just was out looking for people to punch. Right. So an update on that. And if you haven't seen it, it's not like it's a super gruesome thing or anything. It's ridiculous. But the update on it is it sounds like he is the internet did some internet things. They found the guy, and he has now been fired and is looking at multiple assault charges. So he I never lose. You know, he might be catching a lot of L's in a row here.
Yes. The internet is undefeated. There's just, and I saw the posts on it like all over Twitter, like, hey guys, I don't usually do this, but let's find this guy. Yep. It's too easy these days, but like, there's just not anything that you could do that you're 100% like, you know, unless you're rich, you're going to get away with. So
true.
Just stupid, just dumb going out there. You know what? Take your win, go home, drink, pass out at home. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot
are you out
better
looking
ways
for a fight, and it's not even like it was a good fight because the other people didn't know they were in one, right? Like he just walks up and he's like socks this guy, and it's like, well, I mean, I hope you win a fight that the other person doesn't know they're in, like,
right, right. No, and I agree with the last two. Yep, I mean that's on him. That's dumb. And the stuff you do outside are going to affect you. Who wants to be the job that kept that guy, right?
No, for sure.
You know,
the thing is what they need to do is also figure out the cameraman because it's clearly his buddy,
right?
Because they high five at the end and whatever, right? So I mean, he should be part of this as well.
Thing. Yep.
I mean, because obviously he's egging him on, he's filming it, like he's part of the situation. It's not like it was a bystander that was just, you know, wanting to see a fight. Like this guy was his friend walking with him. So, I mean, he should be as much on the hook for encouraging this behavior as anything else. So
agreed.
I would imagine that there's probably something to that effect coming. I know they found him also. I don't know how. I don't know how they found him, but they have found that guy.
3 private schools going to get a pass. See, I know when it comes down to money, you do stupid stuff like that. But I don't think you're being too harsh, actually. I mean, that is just the lowest of the low. If that's what you're doing, and especially like to celebrate a win. Let me go out and just sock random people. Not that celebrating a loss is any better, or being frustrated at the loss, but what are you doing? I don't know. If my team wins a big game, like, I'm just good. You might get random hugs on the street from me versus what are you doing? Like, hey, what's up, buddy? You want me to buy you a drink? Like, I don't get the reaction. I don't get the idiocy.
No, like, you'll see other fans of your team. You'll dab them up, and then you'll see the opposing team. You're like, got you guys. Like, I mean, I don't get I guess I've never really understood the hostility of it. Because, I mean, like, I've been at games where we got absolutely smoked, or the other way around, right? Where we just beat up on somebody. Because, like, when I go to a game, I always like to sit in the opposing fan section, right? Because, during the game, I'm going to chirp a little bit. We're going to talk. And so there was this Cardinals game, and we beat the brakes off them. Just absolutely, like, it was like 50-something to 3. Or, I mean, it was just a horrendous score. And this was during the Seahawks Super Bowl runs. And, I mean, it's part of the way through the first quarter. And me and these Cardinals fans, we were going back and forth. And then now we're already up like 24-0. And I was just like, yeah. So I sent some beers to them. I'm like, sorry, guys. Like, I can't even talk anymore. Like, this isn't going to be any fun.
Right.
And then at the same time, there was one, the Hawks started out pretty good. I think they were like, I want to say they were 3-1, and then the 0-4 Saints came to town, right? And I'm just like, oh, you guys are going to go 0-5. Again, I'm just talking mess to Saints fans, and they beat us down, right? And conversely, they sent me a beer. They're like, oh, what do you got now? I was like, I got this beer you sent me because the game is over.
He's out just kiddie post. I don't even help keep you. Yeah, no. Luckily, I have not been in person to a game that we've been beat down, but I've been on, I've been to losses. I've been to tough game. I pretty much keep to myself, because the stuff that you say in the middle definitely comes back to bite you. But even our tough game this last weekend, we're walking out, and the South Carolina fans, some of them are venting their frustration. They're talking, shake their hands. Hey, man, good game. Man, y'all played it tough. Like, that's it, man. There is never anything else that's going to come from me. You basically would have to get in my face for something to happen. But otherwise, if you're staying in your lane, like, I'm good. I'll shake your hand. I'll tell you played a tough game and blah, blah, blah. And whatever,
So what I mean by us chirping, like, it's all.
Oh, no, I get you. Yeah. No, I get you. I get you. And there are people who, like, do the trash talk. They just do it better than I do. Like, I'm not a good, trash talker. I get a text when we're up or we're about to win, and somebody's like, oh, good job, game's over. And I'm like, no, not yet. And then we bundle an onside kick. So it's like, I don't want to say anything until the game's over, because with my luck, I will regret every last bit of it. So. No,
it's one of those, like, after the game, you're just shaking hands, like, it was a good battle, whatever. Right. The ones, like, I always feel out the fans that are around you, right? Like, you can find out kind of right away if they're the ones that you can kind of talk back and forth with, because the tone changes real quick, right? If they're immediately like, if it goes from the game and they're just like, the hell with you and all of it, right then, they're just like, okay, this is not that guy. Yeah. This is someone that's going to take everything personally. It's not going to be fun. And you just kind of shut it down from there. But the ones that are just like, oh yeah, here we go. And you're like, oh, this is going to be fun all day. Cool.
Right. You get it. I don't have any respect, by the way, for the ones that make it personal right away. If I say something about the guy on the field and you're talking about me personally, I'm like, all right, come on, really? You couldn't do it? Yeah, I know I couldn't. That's why I'm up here with you. Right?
I'm wearing a jersey with someone else's name on it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think Randy's closer to me. I cheer a lot for my team, but I very rarely sit in other sections for that. So
yeah, no, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And
Mhm.
obviously I cheer for my team, you know. But again, you feel out the fans that are around,
right, and that's
right?
the key to me.
Yeah, no, I mean you have to, because there are the people that are just drunk and belligerent, and you wish they stayed home, whether it's opposing fans or your own.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times where it's your own fan base where you're like, dude, really, you need to just shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's, but I mean, I don't know. It's always fun. It's part of the fun of going to the game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's why people don't need to take it this far and ruin the whole experience for everybody. So
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably not worse than it's been. There's probably just more cameras, right?
yeah. Oh,
But,
that's definite.
but it's every week now, and it's just like, come on, guys! Like, it's football, and
Yeah.
as I sit here today, I even do this like for my job. The teams don't pay me, so I just don't care that much. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm on their payroll. I don't. I mean, that being said, Seahawks, hey, you know, help a guy
If you
out.
want, yeah.
At least let me get my media creds. Let's go.
Yes.
But
I'll say this: I love my team, and if they were paying me, that'd be great. I'm still not going out and socking anybody after the game. Like that'd be a whole like that's just not going to happen. You know, like I get texts sometimes. Oh, hey, are you okay after the loss? I'm like, yeah, fine. Like nothing's about to happen. I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, did the loss suck? Yes. Did anything change in my entire life? No. So
yeah,
we're
I mean,
good.
that's the thing, right? Like you don't work for them. You're not on the payroll. Like your team's loss should not derail your whole week.
Thank you.
Like, will it make you drink a couple extra beers before you leave the bar? No question. No question. Especially when you play horribly. You're just like, oh, yeah, so it's empty. Just,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
outside of that, that's kind of
That's
it.
it. Yeah.
You know?
That's it. I'm with
And
you.
if you happen to be one of those drunks that gets crazy, drink less. Or find an alcohol that doesn't make you an asshole.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because there is those, right? Like a buddy of mine, he can drink fine. Tequila makes him a jerk. So you know what he doesn't drink? Tequila. Seems easy enough to figure out, right? So I mean, if you are a drinker and one of the alcohols makes you a jerk, maybe pick something else.
Yes. Anything else? There's a million choices out there. So, or just stay home.
Yeah, well, and this is accurate. If you did go out and sock somebody, you'd no longer be getting paid. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, the teams would distance themselves from you real quick.
Yep. Especially in this day and age, like it doesn't even take any time. There's no like looking into it. They're like, "Oh, is that the guy? That's happened. All right, bye. See you. Go argue with someone else about
it." Because it's not even like it's an allegation. Like, oh, he allegedly punched. It's like, no, we have it from 43 different angles.
Yes.
Like the concourse has more cameras than the field does.
Yes.
Because everybody has their phone out. And soon as a voice elevates, it's like, boom, on it.
Yep. Even the NFL would act quickly on this kind of stuff. You know how they are with video evidence. So definitely.
It's the only time they act.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, domestic violence. Yeah, that doesn't seem that bad. Oh, no, there's video. Okay, yeah, no, you can't have that.
Get rid of it. Yeah. With the quickness.
Oh, man. Good stuff. So, yeah, sorry, Wen. It wasn't necessarily the trying to confuse you. We just had some miscommunication this morning. And so I wasn't sure if we were going live at the 6 a.m. Pacific or the 11. So that wasn't designed just to confuse you. Happy accident, right?
Yes. I woke up, I saw that we were on, didn't respond, went back to sleep, came on down here. And then it was like, oh, you never said anything. Well, like in my head, I clearly did. And so
and the thing that was funny is when I sent it, it usually says if you've read it. And it didn't even say that. So I was just like, oh, I mean, okay, like he's probably asleep. No big deal. Like,
maybe I just scrolled down on it. I don't know. I definitely checked it. So
it could be.
Oh yeah, but I think we all have. I mean, you know how it is down here in the South, Randy. Have Alabama fans ever embarrassed me? Yes, a lot. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, especially college, right?
yes,
Because
yes,
they can just drink and they're doing everything in excess and losing their minds. So, I mean,
yeah,
that just kind of comes with the territory. Um, like if you've ever spent any time at any of those frat parties, wow.
yes, yes. So I think sometimes too, you're more embarrassed by your own fans than you are about others. Others you kind of shake off, but your own, you're like, can we not be just a little bit better than what I'm seeing from other people? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So
Yeah.
that's how I feel. I think we're on the same wavelength with that. Like, I don't know. I just want to be like winners and champions and carry yourself in a certain way. Not,
Yeah.
you know.
Act like you've been there before.
Yes, thank you.
You know? Yeah. Uh,
Right.
yeah. So this is not a shock. Um, he has 129 million reasons to come back. And there's no way they were going to medically keep him from playing
No.
because all of the data always happens years later
Yep.
or after you pass away for the
Yep.
CTE stuff.
Yep.
So sadly, there's nothing that really does anything in real time unless it was just a catastrophic brain injury. That you've seen happen to boxers that got hit in the back of the head, stuff like that. That's about the only way that was really going to happen. I think they'd put him on IR more than anything for him to decide what he wants to do. But the problem is if he retires on his own, he gets none of that money. Now, the
Yep.
team would probably give him an injury settlement of sorts. So they'd probably try and make him right, but it's not going to be to the tune of 129 million or 125,
Right.
whatever it was. So there was really no way he wasn't going to come back. Just because there's too much money still out there. If this was a year later and most of his guarantee was gone, might be different.
Yeah.
But
No.
when
I read that, sorry, when I read that, that's when I knew he was coming back. When I was actually looking into it and research it, and it was like, yeah, if he's medically cleared and then retires, I was like, well, yeah, he's definitely getting medically cleared because they don't find it. It's like you said, it's why whenever a football player passes away, they ask for permission to get to his body because now they're trying to figure out what it does. But other than that, no.
See the trolling.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, you knew Tua was going to come back. Again, that was just for no other reason than to give him time to figure out what he wants to do. And it's also to give the NFL time to figure out what it is they want to make him do.
Right.
Because now we're for sure cases, really 5, because the one that was a back injury, I've never seen a back injury have somebody crumpled up on the ground the way that he was, but and have no, his fingers are all twisted. Like, I've never seen a back injury do that.
Right.
But, whatever. So say it's the 4. Now the NFL has to look at it as, okay, there's nothing medically going to keep him out. We kind of have to let him play. So do we make him wear the cap, right? Like, is that just something that'll be dictated to him at this point? Like, hey, you have to wear the Guardian cap. Not that it would have mattered for this particular hit anyway, because it was him dropping his head as opposed to, just smacking the ground or something like that. Like, he actually did everything they tell you not to do in fundamental football when engaging in a hit, right? They always tell you eyes up, heads up, protect the neck. He drops his head, pushes it to the side. Like, that's an injury every time, no matter what anyway. But this may be something where they're like, look, if you're going to keep playing, you have to wear the cap.
Right. Even though you're not sure that how much it actually does. Because I've actually seen a couple of players out there. You don't really notice it until you're kind of looking closely at it. Yeah, until they zoom in. I mean, obviously the players out there can see it better. But
for sure.
Yep. And I think Randy, I think the question is the same. Just looking it up too as well. If he retires at the end of the year, he still does, he keeps what he played for this year, but he forfeits future stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just reading it.
Moving forward. Yeah. So basically, he keeps whatever money until the day he retires, and then everything from there would be gone.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say there's $120+ million reasons to stay is because there's no way you're going to leave that kind of money on the field, because that also having to be medically discharged from the league or retiring because of that also negatively affects your ability to do like broadcast stuff later. And it should, in fact, it should advocate for making smart decisions.
Right.
But that's not how this sport works.
Right.
and unfortunately, if he were to retire today, not only would he forego over $100 million, but any kind of broadcast career moving forward would really probably not work out. I mean, he'd end up with some speaking engagements, right? Like schools bring him in, be like, hey, look for these things, stuff like that. So yeah, it's I don't know. It derails way more money than even just leaving football would.
Yep. And went to the players' reaction. I mean, you're probably just, hey, if he chooses to come back, I think they're just going to welcome with open arms and then just get out there to play. There's nothing that they can do differently for him. You know what I mean? Like your line, maybe they'll probably block as well as they did, but the play he got hurt on was blocked just fine. He got right up the defense was on the back end. So yeah, it wasn't like a sack. It wasn't like anything they did. So I get where the question's coming from 100%, but I think if on their end, I think they just go back out and play, so yeah, but his first deal was his rookie contract. So it's not,
this is his first real money.
Yep.
Yeah.
So as far as hitting, I mean, they're not hitting him. So maybe, and plus he's a quarterback. So in practice, they're not really allowed to hit him anyway. The other team, I mean, you just got to go play. I guarantee you once the game starts, guys are just going to go play. And again, on the play he got hurt on, he wasn't hit. He did the hitting. So he was the aggressor on that play.
The thing, right? Is he engaged in the hit? So, I mean, that is entirely on him. And yeah, the players will definitely welcome him back. In fact, they want him back because they've gone through 3 other quarterbacks that can't get them the football. Yeah. So at this point, they're like, look, if he's medically cleared and he's ready to rock, let's go win some games, because these guys all get paid based on production as well. And if they can't get the football, they don't get their incentives in their contracts, right? Like when you look at a Tyreek Hill and a Waddle and an OBJ, like they have touchdown goals, they have yardage goals that they have to hit to be able to
Pro Bowl stuff, everything,
contract. And if they have guys like Skylar Huntley, Skylar Huntley.
I mean, that worked for me. I'm sitting up there going, yeah, Skylar Huntley.
I mean, whatever. We'll just put a couple of them together. But you have Skylar, you have Tim Boyle, you have Tyler Huntley, and you can't get completed pass. You want the guy back. If he's willing to come back and play and he's medically cleared, you're just like, yeah, please come back, because you not being here might cost me $1 million in yardage benefits that I otherwise won't get. So honestly, his teammates will be excited to have him back based on the other things we've seen. Now, if these guys would have came out and balled out, then they'd be like, like take your time, make sure you're right, whatever. But when you are just
affecting the money,
absolutely terrible out here, they're just like, yeah, can you please figure it out and come back and throw us the football?
Unfortunately true. So
absolutely. Oh, I guess that gets us there. Huh? Wow. All right. Well, if you've been watching along in this early morning Wednesday wrap up, be sure to like and subscribe all of our channels. And then, of course, if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the 9 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock or noon Eastern for Coast to Coast. Other than that, see y'all next week. Almost hit the wrong outro.